Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. I'm Officer IBI. I have Officer Eliel reading for me today. I'm gonna go over a topic. It's titled "The Destruction Caused by Integration," because it's 2025, and as you can see, the things happening in the news with our people, we still look for some type of solace in these nations around about us, not understanding that integration itself, historically, in biblical times and even in modern times, has been one of the downfalls of the Israelites. So we're going to start with Romans 15:4.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Through the scriptures and through applying what is written and the things that happened to our forefathers and foremothers aforetime, we could gauge what happened to us in prior times so we could prevent those things from happening in this time. So I'm going to go over a little history, then we're going to go into some modern things, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of prophecy, going to show you the effects of integration in the past, the present, and what's going to happen in the future. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, and when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Because this is how it's always been. There was nations separated by nation, even after Babylon, ancient Babylon, when there was languages confounded, because all nations weren't supposed to come together. And we read right here that read it again.
When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance.
When he divided the nations their inheritance, talking about lands. Read.
When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
And he set the bounds of the people according to the number of Israel. So Israel got first dibs over the best land. And that's how it was and it's supposed to be. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. To further go along with the intermingling of the nations should have never happened. Give me that. 7 and 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 1.
Come on.
When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither you goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Read.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them, and thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
This was the decree given to us when we were going in the land to take it. But read verse 3. 3 and 4 is the point. Read.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me.
We are not supposed to make marriages with the other nations because those nations will turn us away from following our God, because our God is with us and not them. Period. Read.
That they may serve other gods.
Right. We would be subject to serving their gods. Come on.
So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly.
And if you've known anything about the Bible, the Israelites have fell into idolatry over and over again while dealing with these other nations in marriages and in fornication repeatedly. Okay? So watch this. Now give me Deuteronomy 28:15. We're going to read 15, then we're going to jump to 43.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Moses told us if we did not observe to keep the commandments that was presented to us on this day, that curses will happen to the entire nation of Israel because we're breaking God's commandments, which is sin. 43.
Verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
The stranger is the other nations, the same nations that we weren't supposed to marry or make covenants with. Read.
And thou shalt come down very low.
So he would come up very high above us in society, and we would come down very low in society. Read.
He shall lend unto thee, and thou shalt not lend unto him.
He shall lend to us, but we can't lend to him because he has everything, because he is the head. He is above us, and we are the tail. That's it on that. That's all I wanted. Give me 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 42.
The book of 2 Ezra.
Why can't we read this Bible and look at the things that happened aforetime and understand that this will happen again or is currently happening? This is why. Read.
2 Ezra chapter 5 and verse 42. And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring.
He will liken his judgment like a ring. Read.
Like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first.
This is why when Moses was giving us Deuteronomy 28, the 15th verse down to the 68th verse, that has happened over and over and over again to the Israelites, because it said the Lord's judgment is like a ring. And that's why it continues to still happen. It's 2025, and the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are still living those curses in Deuteronomy 28. We will be living the blessings of Deuteronomy 28 when we stop sinning, because it's like a ring, right? It happens over and over and over again. To give you proof on that, give me Ecclesiastes 1. Start at verse 9.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9.
And this is not going to be a regeneration class. I'm going to briefly touch on it to go into the topic. We haven't yet gotten to the topic yet. This is, I guess, the prelude. Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. See,
Solomon hinted on something very, very heavy right here. To further expound on what he's talking about, give me Ecclesiastes 6 and 10.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 10. That which have been is named already.
That which have been named already. What is that thing? Read.
And it is known that it is man.
So that thing is man. So when we go back to Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. The thing that hath been.
The man that hath been.
It is that which shall be.
It is the man that shall be. Read.
And that which is done is that which shall be done.
And that which was done shall be done by that man. That's why it seems like history repeats itself, because the same spirits come back on the earth over and over and over again. Read.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
And there's nothing new under the sun. You might think, oh, it's 2025. Oh, all of these concepts are new on the earth. Absolutely not. And we're going to prove it to you that things of old that has been written in the Bible and documented by the scribes of their time are exactly the same things that are happening now. Now let's get into it. Give me Psalms 106, read 34, 35, and 36.
Psalms chapter 106, verse 34. And they did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them.
Right, because we did want to make covenants with the same nations later down the line, which was told to us not to make. So we made those covenants. Read.
But were mingled among the heathen.
We were mingled among the heathen because we wanted to be like them. Read.
And learn their works.
And we learned their ways, their customs, their religions. Read.
And they served their idols.
And of course, with that, we served their gods. Read.
Which were a snare unto them.
Which was a snare unto the Israelites. Because when we started serving their gods, Deuteronomy 28 was poured out to us. They became very high. We became very low. We became subject to them in all things. They lent to us. We did not lend to them. We served them in all things, like Deuteronomy 28:48 stated. So let's get an example. I'm only dealing with the Grecians, the so-called Edomites in their time. We're not going all the way back to Babylon. We'll start in Greece. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Watch this.
First Maccabees.
What we're going to touch on is a phase. This is the willing integration phase.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
Right. So this is when Persian and Medes was the empire on earth. Alexander the Greek, the son of Philip, is who killed Darius and took over. Read.
That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth.
And we all heard this history in public school about Alexander the Greek, who they call Alexander the Great, who took over many places and put crowns on his head. Come on.
And he went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
This is why school mentioned this man, because it's the first time the so-called white man reigned over the earth. Before this, they were not reigning on earth. They were not the Egyptians. They were not the Babylonians. They were not the Persian and Medes. Their reign started with Greece, and that's what we're reading right now. Come on.
Whereon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
And that's the story. He died from syphilis. Come on.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
His 4 generals, who he parted their land. Come on.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bare rule every one in his place.
Those servants are those 4 generals, bare rule in each place. They divided up all of the kingdom that he conquered between all 4 of them. Read.
And after his death, they all put on crowns upon themselves.
Come on.
So did their sons after them.
And when they died, those 4 generals died, they put crowns on their sons after them to continue the Edomite or the so-called white man rule of Greece. Read.
Many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
And what?
Evils were multiplied in the earth.
When the so-called white man beginning to rule the world, the known world at the time, it said evils were multiplied on the earth. Kind of like now. Read.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, came out of the Seleucus line, one of those 4 generals. Come on.
Son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
So the kingdom of the Greeks at this time is 137 years of reigning on earth at the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. Verse 11.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
What?
Wicked men.
Wicked men of Israel. Read.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
What you would call these people today would be coons or sellouts. Your celebrities. Your boule. Your black bourgeoisie. These would be the equivalent of the same what that we're reading about right here. Wicked men that wanted to live like the Grecians, that wanted the Grecians' customs. The Bible calls them wicked men. Give me Psalms 137, verse 7. Because they are well aware who the Greeks are. They understand that they are the descendants of Esau. And in times past, let's read what Esau did to us. Read that.
Psalms chapter 137 and verse 7.
Read.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, race it.
The day that Jerusalem was destroyed by the Babylonians in the time of Zedekiah the king in 2 Kings, It tells you Esau was right there yelling, race it, talking about destroy it. Destroy our homeland, destroy our temple. Read.
Even to the foundation thereof.
Even to the foundation of the city. Destroy it all. Read.
O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us.
And that is the prophecy of Psalms, that they will be rewarded like they rewarded us. They will be completely destroyed. But go back to First Maccabee. Yeah, read that.
And happy shall he be that taketh and dashes thy little ones against the stones.
And that is the prophecy that happens to Esau when Christ comes back. It's written, it's recorded. Their destruction is written in the Bible already. Our forefathers knew this. This was in the time of Babylon. Think about it. Babylon, the Persian and Medes, the Greeks came after that. But go back to 1 Maccabees 1 and 11 and let's see what wicked men of Israel said.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
They persuaded many Israelites to go what?
Make a covenant with the heathen.
Make a covenant with the heathen. The heathen right here is talking about is Esau. The same ones we just read about in Psalms that helped destroy Jerusalem during the time of the Babylonians. That history wasn't erased or that history wasn't gone. They knew that, but they loved their enemies. That's why they were wicked men of Israel. Read.
Saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So
hold on. They've had much sorrow after they departed from them, but not remembering that they caused much sorrow in times past to us. Now, give me 1 Maccabee. Yeah, keep reading. Verse 11. Yes, you read that. Read 12.
So this device pleased them well.
Uh-huh.
Then certain of the people were so froward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
So they were so forward in their thinking, they ran to the heathen king, Antiochus or Antiochus Epiphanes, and wanted to set up a place of exercise, which is a gymnasium, which is working out naked place in Jerusalem. Come on.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen.
According to the customs of the heathen. Well, guess what? The heathens worked out naked. I'm talking about fully naked. No clothing. That's why when you see statues of Greco-Roman wrestling, both parties in the statue are naked. They wrestled that way. They worked out that way. They conducted sports naked. Come on.
And made themselves uncircumcised.
And they said made themselves uncircumcised, not wanting to keep the commandments. Read.
And forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and was sold to do mischief.
And these are the ones of in a leadership role. These were the bourgeoisie at the time because they had the ability to persuade many in Israel to do after the same. So we're going to get the same history, but we're going to dive a little deeper into it because that was like an overview. Give me 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 9. Why is this important? Why are we mentioning a place of exercise, gymnasium, sports? Because guess what? In Babylon the Great America, this is what was used to willingly integrate us this time. One of the first institutions in America that was integrated was a baseball team, the Brooklyn Dodgers, with Jackie Robinson. That was integrated before schools were. That was integrated before the military was. And lo and behold, after that was integrated, all those other things fell into place. If you don't believe me, look it up. Read that.
2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 9.
Come on.
Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place of exercise for the training up of the youth.
This is talking about Jason. This is talking about a man named Jason who hates his people. He's one of those wicked men that we read about in 1 Maccabees, he's who this is talking about. Read it again.
Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place of exercise for the training up of the youth and the fashions of the heathen.
You see how it started? It started with the youth. Just like the youth leagues, the AAU leagues, the aspiration of the children are to make it to a professional league. From youth, you got 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. I want to be an NBA basketball player. I want to be an NFL football player. I want to be an MLB baseball player. I want to be a soccer player. This was a trick back then. We're talking BC time. Before Christ, this what was going on. Read 9 again.
Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if you might have license to set him up a place of exercise for the training up of the youth and the fashions of the heathen.
So the place of exercise was used to fashion the youth in the customs of the heathen. That's heavy. Keep reading.
And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians.
To write them by the name of Antiochians, by the name of the king. The children of Jerusalem by the name of a heathen king. Come on.
Which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion.
So through sports, he brought his nation to the Greekish fashions. That goes into serving their gods. That goes into the customs, the days they keep, the what they wear, how they conduct themselves in a society. All that is in that. Read.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Pallu, who went ambassador to Rome for enmity and aid. He took away and put down the governments which were according to the law, and he brought up new customs against the law.
You see the change? Oh, okay, so we're not going to do what we used to do. We're going to bring up new laws against the laws that we used to keep, which is God's laws. We're going to bring up laws against God's laws. Read.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself and brought the chief young men under subjection.
He brought the chief young men under his subjection and did what?
And made them wear a hat.
A draft day. Because that's who gets chosen in the draft is the chief young men that have given themselves fully to the program, to the school, to the game, to the custom of the heathen. It's all you trust and believe. You're not going to get drafted if you have opinions, if you have your own mind and opinions. No, you have to talk a certain way, act a certain way to get to that point. You got to be PR trained is what they call it. Public relations trained. Groomed. Good word. Come on.
Now, such was the height of Greek fashions.
This was the height of Greek fashions. Sports was the height of Greek fashions? Does that seem familiar today? The Super Bowl is the most watched thing on the TV. Church ends early on Super Bowl Sunday so that everybody can make it to the game. Things change for the finals. They have a parade for whoever wins. It's the height of Greek fashions. Come on.
An increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding.
Watch this. I'll even give you another one. It's the height of Greekish fashions. I'll give you another Greek fashion. Christmas. Christmas is a Greek fashion. It would be considered one of the highest Greek fashions in this society. But guess what trumps it? Christmas, everything is closed. Most convenience stores, most stores, Walmart, all that's closed. But guess what's happening on Christmas? Football, basketball, sports is on these quote-unquote holidays because they're the height of their Greekish customs. They're the top. Come on.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
Come on.
That the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar.
So the Levites didn't want to serve no more at the altar and do the sacrifices of the Lord their God anymore. Read.
But despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth.
They said, to hell with the sacrifices. We got to catch this discus game. My favorite athlete, my favorite player playing today. I'm pretty sure they was gambling too, because everything is a microcosm of what's going on now. If they were doing sports like they were back then, they were gambling too, because that's what's happening. That's what we see now. Come on.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
Not setting by the honors of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the prophets, read.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
But liking the glory of the white man best of all. And that's what you see now. It's exactly what you see now. We don't want to be like our great-grandfathers, the ones that worked hard, the sharecroppers, the ones that was in the field working, or the inventors that we had 100 years ago who invented everything in Babylon the Great. We want to be LeBron James. We want to be the rapper. We want to be all of the things against what, even in this kingdom, would have been honorable. We don't want to be Nat Turner. We don't want to be Sojourner Truth. We don't want to be Harriet Tubman. We want to be 50 Cent. We want to be P. Diddy. We want to be R. Kelly. And that's the hard truth. Guess what? We're reading the same thing that was going on in BC time, again, before Christ stepped on the scene. This is what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were doing back then under the hand of the Grecians. We're under the hand of the Grecians now. And we're doing the same things, brothers and sisters. Give me Matthew chapter 2. We're going to read 1 through 5.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 2.
We about to go, we got to read about the Romans, which is still Esau. Come on.
Matthew chapter 2 and verse 1. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east of Jerusalem.
Herod the king was not an Israelite. He was an Idumean, an Edomite, a so-called white man that was put in power over the Israelites by the Roman government. Read on.
Saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews? For we seen his star in the east and are come to worship him.
So the kings of the east came to worship Christ because they see the star in the east. Come on.
When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
He said all Jerusalem was troubled with the king, the Edomite king. No, it wasn't all Jerusalem. It was, we're going to read who it was. 4.
And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together.
That's who all Jerusalem was making reference to. It was making reference to the chief priests and the scribes who was in agreement with Herod, the boule, if you will, in this time. Read.
He demanded of them where Christ should be born.
He demanded of them, where is this so-called king supposed to be born? Read.
And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet.
And you see that these coons told the white man where the king should be born, going to show you that they're in full agreement with Herod. Drop down to verse 16.
Verse 16, then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men.
Because the wise men never returned back to him when they found Christ, because an angel told them to go a different way. Come on.
He was exceeding wroth.
He was mad because they never came back. He's like, should they have been back by now? Why ain't they came back yet? Read.
And he sent forth and slew all the children that were born in Bethlehem.
So he sent a decree out to kill all of the boy children in Bethlehem. Read.
And in all the coast thereof.
In all the surrounding areas.
From 2 years old and under.
From 2 years old and under. Read.
According to the time in which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
So he said, okay, so the kids should be around 2 years old. So 2 years old and under, kill all the boy children in Bethlehem and in the coast. Imagine the carnage. Imagine these babies being ripped out the hands of their mothers and murdered in front of them, all by the decree of this so-called white man, right? Okay. Watch this. Give me John 8:31.
John chapter 8 and verse 31. Verse 31. Then said Jesus to those Jews which believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
This is Christ, doing his ministry. Read.
And they answered him, we be Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man.
And you see what the response was? Read that again.
They answered and said, we be Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free?
They are under Roman occupation at the time that this statement is made. Read it again.
They answered him, we be Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free?
Roman occupation is running things in Jerusalem, but yet these Israelites are saying they aren't in bondage to no man. They're actively paying tribute to Rome, and they state that they're not in bondage to any man. Matter of fact, give me that. I think it's Matthew 17. Just to prove the point. I didn't have this written down, but I think it would be wise to bring this out.
I got you. Verse 24.
Yes.
Matthew chapter 17 and verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, does not thy master pay tribute?
Taxes. Tribute and taxes is the same word. Come on.
He said, yes. And when he was come unto the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute?
He said, of whom does the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Taxes. This is a question that Christ is asking Simon Peter. What does he say? Read.
Of their own children or of strangers?
Of your own children, of their own citizens, or of strangers, other people outside of their nation. Read.
And Peter said unto him, of strangers.
He said, so Peter answered the question, said, they charge taxes of strangers, which would be at this time, Roman is charging Israel taxes. Read.
And Jesus said unto him, then are the children free.
Then are the children of the people collecting taxes free, meaning the children that are paying taxes are in bondage. Go back to John 8:33. So guess what, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man? You pay taxes. You are yet this day in your captivity. I'm going to get that too. But go back to John 8:33. Read that, and then we're going to go to Baruch.
Yes, sir. John chapter 8 and verse 33. Then they answered him, we be Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou that ye shall be made free?
Do you see that? That's the mind frame of most Israelites even to this day. We are yet this day in our captivity, and if you asked a group of 10 to 15 Israelites, Jake, I'll say the ones that don't know that they Israel, they wouldn't even know that they still slaves. Even Harriet Tubman during chattel slavery said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more if only they knew that they were slaves. We've always had this type of mind frame. You mean to tell me they didn't know they were slaves in chattel slavery?
They loved it.
So good luck trying to wake up everybody, because it ain't going to work. If they didn't know they were slaves back then, they damn sure ain't going to think they slaves now when they could buy a car, watch sports, participate in foolery. They could go celebrate Christmas. They don't think they slaves.
They love the cucumbers.
Give me that in Baruch.
Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8.
Come on.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
Why are we in captivity? How do we know we're in captivity? This is a key point of knowing we're in captivity. Read.
Where thou hast scattered us.
Okay, so we got to be scattered. So we're not at home. We're scattered everywhere. That's one part. Read.
For a reproach.
They hate us here.
And a curse.
And a curse. Deuteronomy 28 is here.
And to be subject to payments.
And we are subject to payments. What payments would you think? You buy something, you got to pay taxes. At the end of the year, you got to pay taxes. If you own property, you pay taxes. If you own a home, you pay taxes. If you make more than the income that you wage for, let's say you win the lottery, you got to pay taxes. Every aspect of your life in this country is taxed. Didn't they have the Boston Tea Party because they was getting taxed on tea? They had a whole Revolutionary War because the king was charging them taxes on tea. They don't put up with that. But you do, and you're willing to pay it because you get what? A tax credit? They overcharge you taxes the whole year, and then at the beginning of the year, they give you a kickback. You make a holiday out of it. Right, they took more out than they were supposed to. That's why they gave some back. You could have used that all throughout the year, but they said, we took more than we supposed to. Okay, here's a little bit back. If black folks lose their money, guess what? We give it right back to them. All right, go back to Mark 12. Give me Mark 12. We jumped off for a little bit. But watch this. This is also in the Roman occupation of Jerusalem. Mark 12, read 13 through 16.
The book of Mark, chapter 12, and verse 13.
Come on.
And they sent unto him a certain of the Pharisees of the Herodians to catch him in his word.
Read that again.
And they sent unto him certain of the Pharisees and of the Herodians.
And of the Herodians. So it was the Pharisees and the Herodians. They sent them to Christ, read.
To catch him in his words.
To catch him in his words. These are black people. These are the Israelites of Jesus Christ's nation. They sent them to catch him up in words. The coons, the sellouts, the boule. All skin folk ain't your kin folk. Some of our people would rather be Esau. But we think that, okay, since we share similar plights and skin color, we should have that camaraderie. I'm here to show you, brothers and sisters, even in the Bible, in the time of Christ, the Son of God, they were looking to kill him and destroy him for the white man's sake. Come on.
And when they were come, they say unto him, Master, we know that thou art true, and carest for no man, for thou regardest not the person of men, but teachest the way of God in truth. Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not?
You see, they try to catch him up in his words so they could get him for treason to have him killed. These are his skin folk. 15, I'm sorry.
Shall we give or shall we not give? But he, knowing their hypocrisy, said unto them.
He said he knew their hypocrisy. All that flattering words that they were trying to give, it was all a disguise to get him caught up. Read.
He said unto them, Why tempt ye me? Bring me a penny that I may see it.
Well, that's crazy that it's called a penny. The one cent is called a penny now. Correlation, maybe. You know what I'm saying? They've always called their currency a penny. Okay, come on.
And they brought it, and he said unto them, Whose is this image and superscription?
He said, whose image is on the penny? Wow, that sounds very familiar. Come on.
And they said unto him, Caesar's. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Render to Caesar the things that are to Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's.
Give Caesar his money back. If Caesar is charging you a fee of his money, give him his money. But this, side note, this man has always done the same things. A penny in the time of Christ 2,000 years ago had the image of Caesar on it. Who's on the currency now? Presidents. Same, different word of ruler, same meaning. Ain't nothing changed. But we think we read these words on a page, everything's changed because it's 2025 and you got an iPhone. No, this man has never changed. Like we read in Ecclesiastes, he's the same guy. They've came back. Give me John 11. But why were they trying to catch Jesus Christ up in their words? Why? Ain't they black? Did they know he was the Son of God? He was doing the things for the people. He was supposed to free them from the hands of their enemy. But why would you fight against that? Why would you fight against your own salvation? John 11:47.
The book of John, chapter 11 and verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council.
Same look, same group of people that we just read that tried to catch him up in his words in Mark 12. The same people that Herod asked about the prophecy of the king being born in Matthew 2. What did they do? Read.
And said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
So they acknowledge that this man does miracles. They're in a council. They're like, what do we do? He does many miracles. Read.
If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
If we leave Christ alone, all men will believe on him. But wouldn't that be a good thing? They seen the miracles. Miracle means powers of God manifested in the natural. So you acknowledge that. Wouldn't it be a good thing that all men believe on the Son of God, the Savior of the Israelites? You being an Israelite? Read.
But if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
That's what they were scared of. They were scared of Esau. What would Esau do to them again? Read.
The Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
They were scared of losing their position. And then they tried to also say that the Romans will come and take away us out of the land, which it happened because Rome didn't play games. If they felt like they was losing their handle on things, they came and destroyed stuff. That's true. That happened. That was real. But you see, they put their self before their nation. Read it again.
And if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
They'll take away our place and nation. Now you wonder why the pastors in this place teach what they teach. Now you understand why your quote unquote leaders do the things that they do that is contrary to the growth and the progress of the people. Talking about the Israelites, talking about the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because they're set up to do so. And they love their life more than yours. And they will not risk their livelihood for you. But they share your skin complexion. They share your mannerisms because Esau knows, just like he knew back then, he has to use the people to control the people. That goes for your Al Sharptons, your Jesse Jackson. All of them are puppets. Your entertainers, your comedians, they're all puppets. Your entertainers, they're all puppets to keep you asleep so that they can continue to destroy you so they can rule. That's how it was in the Greek time, the Roman time, and this time now. Give me Daniel chapter 2, verse 40.
Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things.
This is talking about America. Read.
As iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Come on.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
Talking about America and the UN, the 10 toes is talking about NATO. Come on.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
Read.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
All nations is found in this kingdom. Whether you go to America or in Europe, all nations can be found in America and Europe because they mixed themselves with the seed of men. They mingled themselves with the seed of men. Read.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
But they shall not cleave one to another. That's why it's so much racial uprising in this nation, because the integration has not fully set in yet. You know, you still have Chinatown. You still have the Arab part of town. You still got the ghetto, which is the black side, the Hispanic side, the Native American side of town. And that's how it was designed. Come on.
But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Okay. Give me Revelations 11 and 8.
Revelation chapter 11.
Just to show you, America is mentioned in the Bible. That is one scripture that America is mentioned in the Bible. You're not going to read United States of America in the Bible, but it will give you characteristics of this place. Here's another one.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8.
Come on.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
The dead bodies referencing here is the Israelites, because we have no knowledge of self here. We think we're African American, Afro American, Black, Mexican, Hispanic, Latinx, Native American. We are not called by the names God gave us. A lot of us don't even know the names that God gave us. Come on.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Sodom and Egypt is what this place is known as spiritually. Why is it known as Sodom? Homosexuality is law here. Law here. Egypt. All 12 tribes of Israel were slaves in Egypt. That's the same here. You have the obelisk in Washington, D.C. You have the IRA on the back of the dollar. You also have the eagle on the dollar, which was also a symbol of Egypt. They gained their symbolic wisdom from Egypt. Even to the point where now you got white people saying that they were the ancient Egyptians. They've always had a fondness with Egypt. Read it again.
And their dead bodies shall be in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
The black Messiah was crucified here because Caesar Borgia has been the Jesus Christ of this place. Black Jesus has never been acknowledged in America ever. It has always been white Jesus. Since the inception of the United States of America, it has been white Jesus. They killed our Gadite brothers and sisters and Reuben brothers and sisters here for not serving white Jesus. That's a fact. Give me Proverbs. Well, actually, give me Judith 5:17.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 17.
Come on.
And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that had hated iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore.
And this is a heathen general going to his Lord and governor and giving him the blueprint on the Israelites. This is what we're reading. This is what all nations upon the earth know about the Israelites. And I want you to read it from the top. I just had to give that backstory, but start at verse 17.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 17. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hated iniquity was with them.
Because sin is breaking of God's commandments. If the Israelites are keeping God's commandments, there is no sin, therefore God will fight for us and nobody can come against us, because the creator of the universe and everything in it is for the Israelites. The Israelites only. And they know this. Come on.
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs.
Deuteronomy 28 happens. They cannot stand up in war against their enemies if they are in sin, because it has always been the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob fighting for the Israelites in battle. It is not the strength of the human being in the battle who wins it. It is the Father and the Son who dictate who wins that war. This is why in Exodus chapter 15, verse 3, it says he's a man of war. Come on.
And the temple of their God was cast to the ground.
During the time of Babylon. Come on.
And their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate.
This is literally a strategic report given about our people. They still do these type of diligent searches now. This is why they have certain things set up. This is why hip-hop music was crack. All of this was ever set up because they did a diligent search. But this is at the helm of it all. Keep them in sin and we will reign them. Come on.
Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God.
This is why your enemy will never tell you you're an Israelite. If you wait on your enemy to tell you that, they lose if they tell you that. They lose. Read that again. 20.
Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
They know that. They know that if they keep pork cheap, if they keep the sales on Saturday, if they keep you occupied in sports your whole life, if they promote homosexuality and whoremongering, they're going to continue to rule because they understand our God will not fight for us. They're not going to. That's why we're considered a hate group, because we're telling you, you're the Israelites. You need to keep God's commandments, because they cannot have you wake up to that. They need to put every deterrent in your mind to prevent you from coming to do this so that they can continue to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Think about it. They spent 200 years breaking your forefathers and foremothers down to animals. At the exact same time, they used those people to build up this great kingdom. Think about it. America's only been around since 1776 officially. And they're the world's superpower in less than 250 years. You think it was because of them or because of the free labor that they gotten off the backs of your forefathers and foremothers? But it was all designed because they understood they got to keep you in sin. They didn't teach you the Bible. You would die if they taught you the Bible. And then when they allowed you to read, they made sure the pastor had a white supervisor in the church teaching you the Bible. So now in 2025, you don't even pick up the book. You still listen to that man in front, clapping his hands and yelling and sweating, and no edification is coming out of the book. You're listening to another man's words, and it's all by design. Read 21.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation,
if there be no sin, if we keep the commandments of God as it is written, come on.
Let my Lord now pass by.
Why pass by? Come on.
Lest their Lord defend them.
Because our God will defend us for being sinless, keeping the commandments. Come on.
And their God be for them.
And their God. See, they know that our God is real because he told his Lord and Governor that their God will defend them. Going to show you that they know that the power is real. Come on.
And we become a reproach before all the world.
And we will become a reproach before all the world because God will smite us for touching these people being sinless. I read all that because I had to read the plan of your enemy till this day. Give me Deuteronomy 28:1.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
And they cannot have that. They understand that the rightful place of the Israelites are on top of everybody else, above all people on the face of the earth. They can't have that if you keep the commandments. Once you keep the commandments, that will happen, brothers and sisters. And guess what? The Lord always sends back saviors, those that keep the commandments and try to get their nation back on track. And when that happens, your enemy fights back like hell. Now we're going to get into the next part. Give me 2 Maccabees chapter 2. No, 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 48 to 51. Let's read about some saviors that the Lord always sent back to try to get us back on track.
The book of 1 Maccabees chapter 2.
During the integration period. Come on.
Chapter 2 and verse 48. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of the kings, neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons,
Mattathias was a righteous man. He cared about the laws of God unto death. Come on.
Now have pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now, therefore, my sons, be zealous for the law.
Be what?
Be zealous for the law.
This is a God-fearing man telling his sons to be zealous of God's commandments. Come on.
And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
And the men that are zealous of the law will willingly give their life for the commandments of their fathers. Come on.
Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
And guess what? Spirits like this are back. You see them in purple and gold. I'm not just saying it's just us in purple and gold, but we are the front runners. And if you keep the commandments and the faith in Jesus Christ and you teaching other men and women so, and you're willing to put your life on the line, that's you too. Did you read 51?
Yes, sir.
Read it again.
Verse 51. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time.
This is why we read the Bible with so much boldness and authority, because we read what our fathers did in their time for the laws of God. Come on.
So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
We understand that there's a book of remembrance written for those that will get the kingdom for doing just that. That's why you see the men that you see right now. Give me drop down to verse 62.
Verse 62, fear not then the words of a sinful man.
That's why you Christians, man, y'all can come up with all these apologetic doctrines. It means nothing. We don't fear your words at all. We know what this Bible say. Come on.
For his glory shall be dung and worms.
Your glory is going to be dung and worms. That's what the Bible say. Read.
Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found.
Yeah, y'all can get 1 million views. Y'all can get all the followers, but it's going to come to naught, is what the Bible say. Come on.
Because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing.
You know what's crazy? I don't know any apologists that are dead. I don't know not one. I don't know not one referenced. But I know Abraham is still mentioned. Isaac is still mentioned. Jacob still mentioned. Jesus still mentioned. Peter still mentioned. Elijah still mentioned. Come on.
Wherefore ye, my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory.
This is what this man has told his sons on the way out, before he passed away. Come on.
And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. he shall be a father unto you.
So he's setting his sons up after him, like a godly man is supposed to. Come on.
As for Judas Maccabeus,
Read.
he have been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain, and fight the battle of the people.
He says Simon is going to be a man of counsel. He's going to be a father to you for advice and godly counsel. Listen to him. But he said Judas got them paws. Judas got them heads. He going to be the one to go into battle. Come on.
Take also with you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen.
Do you understand how revolutionary these words are? Because he's talking about the Grecians, about us fighting against them. That would be your neighborhood white man today. It's the same man. Come on.
And take heed to the commandments of the law.
Come on.
So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers.
He passed away. Come on.
And he died in the 146th year. And his sons buried him in the sepulchre of his fathers, Modin. And all Israel made great lamentation for him.
Because he was a righteous man and he deserved to have lamentation against him. He was a great man, a revolutionary man.
That's right.
Who gave birth to revolutionary men. That are still a book of remembrance is written and read about them till this day. So God always puts this revolutionary spirit on earth at the same time as Esau is trying to devise his ultimate plan, which is to kill all the law-abiding citizens of God off the earth, or to destroy God's laws completely off the earth. He rises up spirits to prevent that from happening every time. Now we're reading about that in the Greece times. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 1 and 2.
1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. And so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
And guess what? That has always happened, time in and time out. Let's get some more. Give me Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. It happened in the Roman time. So, we went back to the Greek time to show you saviors. Let's go back to the Roman time. I'm showing you 3 time periods: Greece, Rome, and America. 121. Watch this.
Matthew chapter 1 and verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins.
See, he should save his people from their sins. He's the Savior. And then the 12 with him. Then the 70 with them. There was always those spirits that came on earth to fight against this Edomite, the so-called white man, in his quest for world dominance or world order. We think the New World Order started now in this time. No, they were trying to establish New World Order all the way back in the time of Greece, back in the time of Rome. They're just trying to further it because no new thing under the sun. So with that means the saviors are back. Give me Luke 1:68.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 68.
Come on.
Blessed be the Lord God of Israel.
Read.
For he hath visited and redeemed his people.
He has always visited and redeemed his people in the time of need, just like in the time of Egypt with the Egyptians. Moses came to deliver the people. You read in the Maccabees, it was the Maccabees, the sons of Mattathias, came to deliver the people. The time of Jesus, the 12 and the 70 came to deliver the people. Now, the same in this time now is what you see. Come on.
And have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
Come on.
That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
And guess what? You seeing the men rise up to do that right now. And of course, you see a lot of our people fight against it, but it was the same in the time of the Maccabees, at the time of Christ. It's going to be the same now.
That's right.
But I'm showing you the correlations. Revelations 11:11.
This is the book of Revelation.
This is in this time. Revelations 11:11 is talking about this time. Come on.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11.
Come on.
And after 3 days and a half,
Read.
the Spirit of life from God entered into them.
After 350 years being in this hellhole known as Babylon the Great, the Spirit of God entered the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Read.
And they stood up upon their feet.
And we stood up. Read.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Why? Because we're starting to keep the commandments and they understand, and that means that their time is nigh. It's close to end because they understand history. They understood when the Maccabees stood up, what happened. When Christ stood up, what happened. When Moses stood up, what happened. When Nehemiah stood up, what happened. Guess what? Most of those spirits are back. So they know what's about to happen. The second coming of the king is on its way back. So, with that being said, with that they knowing that the saviors are back on the earth, contending with our people to keep the commandments and the faith of Christ before the coming of the Messiah, they always entered a period called forced integration. We're not in forced integration yet here in America, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. It was written in this Bible. Let's see if we can get past this pretty quick. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. This is the forced integration in Greece. Come on.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote into his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandments of the king, and yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had...
So look, some went on their own, because remember, we just went through willing integration. So when the law was framed, some people just went with it because they were already used to it. Okay, cool, or whatever. But this was to combat the law keepers. That's why the law was made, to combat the law keepers. Read 43 again.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
You see that? Give me verse 42 one more time.
Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So not just Esau. Esau, of course, will keep their own laws. This was going into Elam and Moab. And you see that when they come to this country. Or you see it abroad. The embassies of America kind of frame their laws too. To be, to kind of go on America's program. Some willingly do it, as you can see, right? But that's their goal, end game. Is to get everybody to be like them, to live like them, to observe their customs, willingly or unwillingly. We're reading about the unwillingly part now. Now read verse 44.
Verse 44. For the king has sent letters by messengers into Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
So watch this. America does this now to foreign countries. For example, like some countries in Africa, if they did not accept homosexuality, they would not get aid. Right. Or they would have sanctions put on them or embargoes put on them where they can't get certain supplies. This is why Cuba is the way it is now, because of all the sanctions and embargoes they put on them, because they failed to play ball with America. Keep reading.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Look at the audacity of the so-called white man, the Greek. He comes into Jerusalem, a land that is not his, and tells the inhabitants there that they shall not do the things of their own customs. That they're going to do what we want you to do. Kind of sounds like Trump in Venezuela talking about we're coming to get our land and our oil in their land. They've always done this. This man has never changed, brothers and sisters, and he never will. We're reading about 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, he's still doing the same thing. Come on.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
Come on.
Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
49.
To the end, that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
That has been the end goal of the Edomite since the beginning. That's what he wants. That's what he wants to accomplish throughout the entire earth, is that nobody keeps the laws of God, that we forget the laws of God, because that will ensure that he reigns forever. Come on.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, he should die.
Forced integration. Your life is on the line if you do not comply. That's what forced integration looks like. It is. Read 51.
Verse 51. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
And he will make sure that it is followed by police, ICE, other agencies. He will ensure that this happens. Now, again, we haven't got to this point, but we are slowly marching there. They're doing little things like, I'm telling you, once enough of us start to keep the commandments and we're hurting this man's bottom line in America, it will be outlawed. The laws of God will be outlawed again, brothers and sisters. We're reading it right here. We're reading that the same man now did this 2,500 years ago. Maybe we need some more. Maybe y'all think he's changed. Give me 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Right now, there is a people calling themselves Jewish. And we are rising up calling ourselves by our God-given name, which is Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar. They're going to outlaw us from doing that, because we're exposing the lie that they perpetuated in the earth when we call ourselves Jews, brothers and sisters. Come on.
And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought in by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go into procession and to Bacchus, carrying
They
idols.
will force us to keep their holidays. When they outlaw us from being Jews and keeping our feasts, they will demand us to keep theirs. It happened in the Spanish Inquisition. It will happen again. Come on.
Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
Yeah, they no more, okay, Hanukkah, you celebrate Kwanzaa, you celebrate Christmas. It's going to be one holiday, and everybody's going to keep that one holiday, or you will be threatened with death or imprisonment, because that's how this man gets. We're reading it. There's nothing new under the sun. We just read about sports and how sports was instituted. That happened exactly how it happened back then. It happened just like this now. You don't think this is going to happen? This is what I'm saying, brother. Says you got to be spiritual. Come on, read 9.
And whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death.
You'll be looked at as a terrorist. You'll be looked at as a traitor. You think about it. They're not going to say, "Oh, you're not keeping the way of the Gentiles." They're going to say, "You're not American. You're a traitor. You're a sympathizer with whatever terrorist group they come up with, and you must die because you're a domestic terrorist." Come on.
Then might a man have seen the present misery.
Because guess what? There's going to be a lot of us that consent to this because in fear of death. But some of us ain't going to go for it. Come on, give me Acts 12:1. Let's go to Rome.
This is the book of Acts. Acts chapter 12 and verse 1.
Come on.
Now, about the time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
These were the believers at this time. It pleased some people that James, the person who walked with Christ, was killed, so he took Peter, the chief apostle. Around the time of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, around Passover time. So you don't think it can happen again? We're reading the instances that it's happening. Give me 18:1. Acts 18:1.
Chapter 18 and verse 1.
Come on.
Verse 1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came into Corinth, and found a certain Jew by the name of Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come of India, with his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them.
So we're reading about there was a decree from Claudius Caesar that all Jews need to be kicked out of Rome. Because this is how your neighborhood white man work. He has things in play years ahead of time. Why would it be smart to kick all the Jews out of Rome, Italy? Because he planned on sacking Jerusalem in 70 AD. It makes no sense to keep your enemy in your capital city if you're looking to destroy theirs. He's kicking Issachar out. Why? Because he's trying to invade Venezuela. It's hard to do when you have Venezuelans in the country. This man doesn't change. Remember during World War II, he put Asians in internment camps because you can't destroy the enemy if they live in your land. Imagine that, right? You got Japanese people walking freely around, in 1945, and then they just heard that you just bombed their homeland with 2 atomic bombs. What do you think they would do? This is why he put them in internment camps. You have to know your enemy, brothers and sisters. He doesn't change. That would be the equivalent of what we're reading right here in Acts 18 and 1 and 2. Give me Luke 21 and 20 to prove the point. Look what Christ said.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 20.
Come on.
And when ye see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
When you are besieged by the Roman armies, read.
Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
Just know they're going to level this entire city. Read.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains.
So before this happens, y'all need to leave. Read.
And let them which are in the midst of it depart out.
And read.
And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
And those that live on the outside of the city, don't let them come in here. Read.
For these be the days of vengeance.
Because this is the day that Esau is going to destroy Jerusalem. Read.
That all things which are written may be fulfilled.
All these prophecies in the Bible had to come to pass, and this was Jesus the Christ warning those that would listen. And thank God some of our forefathers that believed, listened, and got their family up out of there. Come on.
But woe unto them that are with child.
But woe unto them with children.
And to them that give suck in those days.
Woe to them with little kids.
For there shall be great distress in the land.
Because it was a besiegement that cut off all resources. Babies were dying due to hunger. And adults. It was a famine because they cut off all resources. That's what a besiegement is. Come on.
And wrath upon this people.
And when they got done besieging it, they came in there and started slaying everybody they could. Read.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive, and to all nations.
And those that did survive became slaves to Rome. They were thrown into coliseums and they were sold as servants to other nations. Read.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
And Christ said that the Gentiles would have their hand on Jerusalem until he came back. So those that are in Jerusalem now are not the Jews. They are the Gentiles. They are Amalek. They are the devil the Bible speaks of. But this was Christ warning those at that time that Jerusalem would be destroyed. So it makes sense why Claudius would kick out the Jews out of Rome. Right? Because they were gearing up for this. Okay. Because guess what? The truth was spreading. The gospel of Jesus Christ was spreading throughout the empire of the Israelites. They had to stop it. And them stopping it was the fear of what the chief priest and them were warning about. Go back to John 11. This is what they were scared of, and this is what ultimately happened in 70 AD because a lot was believing on Christ. Come on.
John chapter 11 and verse 48. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
And a lot started to believe on Christ. Read.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
And they did that in 70 AD. That's what Christ was warning them about in Luke 21. Give me Revelations 12.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 1.
And this is this time. This is for this time. Read that.
Verse 16. And the earth helped the woman.
We are the earth. The Israelites that keep the commandments of God and preaching this truth is the earth. Come on. Or the Bible. The Bible is the earth. Come on.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
The flood is the lies that this Edomite has been perpetuated throughout the whole earth. The Bible swallows it when the men of God open the Bible and rightly divide the word of truth. Come on.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
The dragon was wroth with the Israelites.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Come on.
Which keep the commandments of God.
He made war with those that kept the commandments of God. The Israelites that kept the commandments of God. Come on.
And have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
And have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So we know that it's coming because we just read in Maccabees when they came to make war with the believers. We just read in the Gospels when they came to make war with the believers. So we know that they're going to make war with the believers this time. We waiting on it. We can clearly see what the words on the page say. Give me 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. That man of sin be revealed.
And that's what we're doing now. The great falling away is us going into slavery, captivity through the transatlantic slave trade. And the man of perdition is being revealed, which is the so-called white man. He is the man of perdition. He is the border of wickedness. But he's perpetuated himself as the angel of light, as God around the world. But only the Israelites that keep the commandments of God is exposing this man, as the Bible say. Read it again.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first.
Read.
And that man of sin be revealed.
Esau, read.
The son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
You see that? He is the only other race of people on earth that has perpetuated himself to be God. The things that he do tell you, he think he's God. He thinks he can make a man a woman. He thinks he can make a woman a man. He thinks he has a cure for every sickness on the earth that he created. He believes he can manipulate weather. He believes he could take life at any cost, whether it be abortions or war. He's able to make fire rain down from heaven with his bombs. This man thinks he's God. Read.
So that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Only the so-called white man on this planet Earth has done that. That's how we know that's who it's talking about. Revelation 13:15.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 15.
Come on.
And he had power to give life unto the image.
The image is talking about is Caesar Borgia. The white image of Jesus. Come on.
The image of the beast. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
It was one point in time where if you did not worship that white image of Jesus, you were killed. Guess what? It's going back to that. This is talking about the forced integration of this time. It's going to get just like that again. If you do not accept Christianity, white Jesus, you will be killed. Come on.
Verse 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
Talking about their philosophies, their doctrines. It ain't talking about no microchip. It's talking about sin. Sin in your mind, and you causing and doing sin. You upholding sin. Come on.
And that
the same way it was in the Maccabees. What we read about, it was unlawful to keep Sabbath days and professing yourself to be a Jew to the end that you might forget the law. That's the mark of the beast. Come on.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
You will not be able to conduct life in society without sinning, is what it's saying. This is the forced integration of this time. Give me 2 Ezra 16:70.
2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
Well, like we just read in Maccabees about what they did. They made a decree in the town, and everybody had to follow it. And if you was caught circumcising your kids and keeping the commandments, you were killed. This is the great insurrection, talking about those that fear the Lord. It ain't talking about Pookie selling drugs. It ain't talking about the rapper Diddy. It's talking about those that kept the commandment. Read it again, 70.
For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
Read.
They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord.
Why? Because if you don't have the mark, you're not going to be able to buy and sell. So they're robbing and stealing everything that you have. Come on.
For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
They're going to take us and cast us out of our houses for keeping the laws of God, because guess what? Like when we read it in Maccabees, how they set a law and they had overseers to make sure it got played out. Guess what? That's going to be our own people. They will employ our own people, just like the Herodians and the chief priests, to come and catch us up to be killed. Read.
Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire.
This will happen, brothers and sisters. Give me Revelations 18:4.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4.
Come on.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plague.
Because, yes, this sounds horrible that this is going to happen, but it ain't going to be as bad as what America gets. It's not going to be as bad as the sinful ones of our people get. Not even close. Because just like plagues happen in Egypt, plagues are going to happen in America just the same way. Probably way worse, though. Magnified 100 times worse. Give me 1 Corinthians 12:2.
1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away into these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Because that's what coming out of her is about. We got to realize that we used to be Gentiles. We were carried away to all this dumb idols, the sports, the white Jesus, the Allah, the Buddha, the money, the self worship with birthdays and all of that. We were once those people, but guess what? We came out of that. That's why he said, come out of her. because we still have time to repent. Give me 2 Corinthians 5:17 about being new creatures.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new.
And we got to remind ourselves of this, brothers and sisters, because when things get bad, you can't hold on to the things that you used to do. If you know that you repented in Christ, it's all gone. You're not that person no more. I know it's still a battle. You're still fighting your demons. Don't let them win, because if you go back to your old self, it's like a dog returning to its vomit. Endure to the end is what Christ said. That means you're going to struggle. Imagine, you know what I'm saying, one day you turn on your TV, it says, you know, if you see these type of people with fringes on, they're terrorists, call this number. Will that be enough for you to take your fringes off? It shouldn't, because you understand the reward that you get after this. Daniel 2:44.
Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to the other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and shall stand forever.
That's what they are afraid of, and that's what we know is going to happen if we endure. The Lord our God will come and save us. Jesus the Christ, the black Messiah, is coming back for those that have been faithful and diligent, that we may reign with him throughout all eternity. And that's why the forced integration, the death, the threats of losing your life will happen, because they don't want that to happen. Revelations 11:11.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them.
Right. We read that. So we read when that happens, they're going to have great fear, and then they're going to do certain things because they know their time is near. But read the very next verse. Read 12.
And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld it.
And their enemies beheld it. We will be saved and delivered in front of our enemies, brothers and sisters, if we keep the commandments in the faith of Christ. Give me Joshua 23 and 11.
Joshua chapter 23 and verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else, if ye do in any wise go back, and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go unto them, and they unto you. Know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you.
And that is a promise. So even when things get hard and we march closer to forced integration, is what I'm naming it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. If you go back and forget all that you've learned, even before the forced integration, we're still in willing integration. If you stop keeping these commandments and cleave back to the nations that we're amongst, and you want to live like them, and you want to be an American citizen and all of that, and you want to keep their customs, their religion, know for a surety. Read that last part of that precept 13.
Know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you.
Just know for a surety that these will be snares and traps to you. Read.
And scourges in your side.
It's scourges in your side. They're going to be painful to you. Read.
And thorns in your eyes.
And just imagine having a thorn in your eye. It's going to pain you to see what happens to yourself. Come on.
Until ye perish.
Until you die. Read.
From off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you.
Now give me Hebrews 2 and 1.
This is the book of Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things in which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip.
And with that, Israel, I pray this was edifying. Shalom, Most High, Christ bless.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airways, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.